So months back, I got an email and it said that it would like me to promote an upcoming film from Mongolia called Aberrance. And they were promoting it as the first Mongolian horror film to ever be released theatrically in the United States. And that's like its claim to fame, I
Mm.
suppose. Now, this wasn't playing anywhere around us. So now what that means, it could be one theater. I honestly don't know. It might
I
have
don't
went into
know.
a few,
Yeah.
but nowhere here in Arizona. So
No.
we didn't get to watch it when it came to theaters. So it did get released last year for
hmm
some people. I didn't
hmm
hear anyone talking about it. And it finally dropped on VOD and Hoopla for all you library patrons out there
Yeah.
like us. So
Yeah.
we got to watch this one for free through our library card. Check into that if you are around a library that is associated with Hoopla. Most
hmm
major ones are, especially if you're in a big city.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Um, so this is about a couple who goes to a remote house and they have a next door neighbor who is witness to some strange goings ons in the house that
Yeah.
they're in. Um, and he wants to do something about it. And you really just kind of so with this one, I definitely thought I had it figured out. And I think
hmm
they want you to think you're going to have it figured out. And then I thought maybe I had it wrong and flipped my idea and was like, okay,
Mm.
maybe not. Maybe it is just going for what it seems like it's going for and they're not going to try to do the twist that's
Yeah.
obvious. And then all that was wrong.
All of it was wrong. I think it has a very, for me at least, an unexpected twist. I didn't really
Oh,
see that
sure.
coming at all. But it works and it makes sense. I think it fits well with everything. Um, I I guess I would be interested like how that plays out on a rewatch. I don't think really much changes, as I don't know that there's like any hints that are given to it necessarily. I think it's kind of just like a this is what's happening, like sort
Yeah.
of a twist, which is fine for me. But I thought it was a good one. I thought it was a good twist.
Yeah. So, as far as it working in relation to the rest of the story, maybe I would need to rewatch it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any interest in rewatching it, to be honest. It's not a film that would be rewatchable to me.
Mm.
For my own personal tastes, I thought the movie was fine. Um, but I definitely have some questions. I think I've got that all figured out where it was heading, where I thought it was heading, all of that, because it just definitely feels like everything is a misdirect
Mm.
purposefully
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even to the detriment of it making full sense.
Mm.
Right? Where like the story plays out this way and it could be like, oh, is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? And it just kind of keeps making you go back and forth. And then it's like, none of those ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, but then what was all that? Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. So that kind of felt a little forced and
Mm.
confusing to me to a degree. I still think I can make it all work in my head to being like, oh, okay, they were just doing this and that was happening and whatever, but it still leaves some pretty major questions for me
Yeah.
regardless. But I think the real MVP here of the film, um, for me and I'm for Kaylee as well, I'm sure, was the very unique and interesting camera work
Yes.
that it's not okay. It's not something I've never seen before. I definitely have seen this kind of camera work. I typically see it in action movies,
Mm.
they used it very prominently in Upgrade, where you've got that like attached camera, fixed camera to a person's body, and then they move, and then the camera moves with them. But then they also had like a camera that just everyone's movements were in sync with the camera. So if someone goes this way, it goes that way with them, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was cool. That
I thought that was really
gave
neat.
it some flavor.
Yeah.
As you were watching it. Yeah. The reason I think this wouldn't work on rewatch is because, like, I don't. It's a one watch movie to me. Is that really the whole movie for me is just the mystery of finding out what's going on. And then once it's revealed, it's like, okay, now I know.
I get that.
And I don't, the twist isn't like it. I would definitely be okay with rewatching it with what actually happens in mind to try to see more. But I don't care enough to go back and watch it again to find it. Because it was just all about where's this going? Right? That's all I really cared about.
Yeah, I mean, mostly I would want to rewatch it to see if there was, like I said, like any hints to the twist. But I mean, overall, I would say I enjoyed the film. I think that there was also, aside from like the cool camera movements that I think were used really well, there's some pretty nice lighting in this. I always really enjoyed lighting. And the sound design is interesting. The soundtrack, like the music in this is it's interesting. I don't know that I would say I disliked it. I didn't necessarily love it, but it like fits in this really weird way. So there's that. I don't know. That's like not really a compliment, but not a critique either.
Well, the soundtrack is an Aberrance, right? Outside of the norm.
It is.
So that would make sense. As is the storytelling, as is the camera angles and
all of that kind
like,
of
It's an Aberrance into itself. So I guess it meets its title. But yeah, there's also a use of green screen and random like composite shots, CGI that's like not super noticeable, but noticeable enough for me to be like, oh, that's kind of weird. Nothing terrible, nothing overused, nothing in your face, nothing that I honestly think that most people would probably not even notice it. But that was just like one little thing that I was like, I wonder why they're doing this. Probably because they were doing reshoots and like the snow outside was gone or something like that. Like I could understand that. The acting from everyone is good. I think it's well shot. I think it's, it's all good. It's fine. I mean, if you're into Asian horror and you want something that's going to keep you intrigued and guessing, it's good for that. I don't know. The payoff was kind of like, oh, that's surprising, and then I don't know. I just didn't like. That was it. It was kind of like, oh, that's kind of different. That's different than I expected, and then I didn't really feel anything else.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. I didn't connect with anyone all that much, and I should have because of what they were setting up. I should have bought more into certain characters, and I don't know. We just don't. We don't really build the characters. I think that's the biggest issue.
That might be.
Right?
It's a relatively short film.
It is. That's a good point.
It's under an hour and 20 minutes long.
Oh, it's like an hour and 10.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of character building, which, maybe is why you're not connecting.
There's like none.
Yeah, there's not. We get context behind the characters, but we don't spend character building time with them.
They don't really have personalities, or they don't really have. They're kind of there, right? They're just kind of like basic humans. And I just when you make a movie, you've got to sell your audience your characters. They've got to feel more than. They've got a very short time to make you care about them, right? Because otherwise they're just like bystanders, right? They're just like passerbys on the street,
right?
Like they're human, and I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, right? So it's like, oh, I hope nothing happens to these people,
right?
But like if I, it's like when you turn on the news or something and you find out like 4,000 people died today or something,
Yeah.
just from random things all over, because so many people die every day, you're kind of desensitized to it. And unless like it's somebody you care about, your brain just kind of goes, well, that's life. And it sucks. And I don't want to be desensitized to death, but people die every day.
Yeah.
And so you just have to care. Otherwise, they just become part of the numbers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel with movie characters. They have to not be just people who pass me by on the street that I don't know. As I said, like, I don't want anything to happen to that person, but I'm not going to be as upset about their death as I am a friend.
Right.
Right.
I get that.
And so this movie just does nothing for me to get me to care about anybody. You got to put the care in characters.
That's true.
Said it many times, and I'll say
That's true.
here again. So I think that's probably the biggest downfall of the film. And in being an hour and 10 minutes, 20 extra minutes to spend some time with these people and make them either super unlikable and you're like rooting against them, or
super lovable,
or like morally gray, where you're like, oh, I'm conflicted on how I feel about these people, but you're still engaged and interested, right? But you've got to be invested. You have to have stock. You have to have skin in the game. And I just didn't. It was, as I said, it was just that I wanted to know what happened, because I'm sitting there and a mystery's building, and it's like, all right, like I'm here, I'm watching this.
Right.
Like, let's get to the mystery. Let's get to the reveal. And once it happened, it was like, oh, wow, okay, that's where we're going. And I was like, other than that, I just don't care.
Yeah. I gotcha. I understand.
Yeah. But that's it. It's not a bad watch. It's for free
not.
on Hoopla if you got it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Let us know if you feel different.
Yes.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.